What drives a person to kill like this? Not out of rage, not for money, not even for power, but with patience, with precision, with a steady hand and an artist's eye. My name is Elias Carter. I've been a homicide detective in New Orleans for 15 years. I've seen bodies left in dumpsters, burned beyond recognition, torn apart by gunfire in alleyways. But this is something else. It's the summer of 2022, and the city is drowning in heat and violence. The kind of heat that makes tempers short and bodies sweat. The kind that turns the air thick, the smells stronger, the blood more noticeable. The kind of heat that makes death feel closer. The call came in an hour ago. An anonymous tip led us to this place, an abandoned slaughterhouse on the outskirts of the city. It's been closed for years, but the ghosts of its past still linger. The rusted chains, the stained floors, the scent of something long dead. It's the perfect place for something like this, and whoever did this knew that. The smell is the first thing that gets to me. It's more than just rot, it's old blood. The kind that sinks into the walls, the kind that never really leaves. I breathe through my mouth, but it doesn't help. The scent settles in my throat, thick and metallic, mixing with the humidity in the air. My boots crunch over broken glass and discarded bones. Animal, hopefully. The floor is uneven, slick in places where the ceiling drips with slow, murky leaks. Chains sway from rusted beams above, moving slightly as if disturbed by something unseen. The whole place feels like it's waiting. I see Harper ahead of me, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. He's younger than me, sharper in some ways, but new to this level of brutality. He keeps his hand over his nose, his expression tight. Then he sees it. Jesus Christ, he mutters, voice tight. I follow his gaze and my stomach clenches. The body is suspended from thick hooks, arms stretched out, head tilted downward like a puppet with its strings cut. There's something wrong about the way it hangs, not just dead but arranged. I step closer. At first it looks untouched. No deep wounds, no gunshot, no obvious trauma. But the skin, it glistens under the dim light, slick like marble. Then I see the cuts. Tiny, precise. Hundreds, thousands. They cover every inch of the body, like a painter layering strokes onto a canvas. The skin isn't destroyed, it's transformed. Whoever did this wasn't just a killer. They were an artist. Pinned to the victim's chest with a surgical needle is a small yellowed page. The edges are brittle, curling slightly, like it's been torn from something old. I lift it carefully, tilting it toward the light. It's an illustration. A man, bound, covered in thousands of tiny incisions. I know exactly what I'm looking at. Lynching, the ancient execution known as the death of 1,000 cuts. A slow, deliberate way to die. A method designed not just to kill, but to reshape a person. This isn't just murder, I murmur. Harper swallows hard. Then what the hell is it? I stare at the paper in my hand. A message. And whoever sent it wants us to understand. The heat is unbearable, pressing down on us like a weight. The slaughterhouse smells of death, but it's not fresh. It's aged, soaked into the bones of the place. The kind of scent that lingers even after you leave, clinging to your clothes, your skin, your thoughts. We've been here too long, but I can't look away from the body. The way it hangs, the way the cuts form patterns across the skin. It's not random. It's designed. Harper clears his throat, trying to shake off the unease. We got an ID? A forensics tech steps forward, checking his notes. Dr. Alan Price, 46, plastic surgeon. A doctor. The word sticks in my head like a splinter. I glance back at the body, my eyes trailing over the precise incisions. Every cut is careful, deliberate. This wasn't done in a frenzy. There's no rage, no hesitation. This was surgical, I mutter. Harper exhales sharply. You think another doctor did this? I don't answer. Not yet. Instead, I focus on the paper in my hand, the brittle yellowed page pinned to the victim's chest. The inked illustration of Lynching is detailed, almost reverent in its precision. Whoever tore this from a book didn't do it randomly. They wanted it here. They wanted us to see it. I run my thumb over the edges, feeling the worn texture of the paper. We need to find out where this came from. Harper makes a call, and within an hour, we have a lead. The University Medical Archives sit in the heart of the city, tucked inside an aging building with ivy crawling up the brick. The air inside is cool, lined with the scent of old books and preservation chemicals. The librarian, a thin woman with round glasses, eyes the page carefully. "This is from a medical text on historical surgical techniques," she says. "Late 1800s. Not something you'd find in a regular bookstore." "Anyone checked it out recently?" I ask. She nods, flipping through a logbook. "Only one person." She slides the log across the desk. "Dr. Victor Langston." I don't know the name, but something about it unsettles me. A few calls later, I have a profile. Professor of Surgical History. Lecturer on medieval torture methods. I glance at Harper. "That's a hell of a coincidence." His jaw tightens. "Think he's our guy?" I don't believe in coincidences. We find Langston at the university, standing in front of a lecture hall filled with students. Behind him, a slide projector casts an image onto the wall. I stop in my tracks. It's the same illustration. The death of 1,000 cuts. The same image found on Price's body. Langston gestures toward it, speaking in a voice that carries through the silent room. "The art of Lingqi," he says, "was not about death." He turns, and his eyes meet mine. "It was about transformation." And then he smiles. Langston watches me from across the room, his gaze sharp, assessing. He doesn't look like a killer. He looks like a man who's comfortable in control, a man who enjoys an audience. The students listen, transfixed as he continues his lecture. "Lingqi was not just about suffering," he says, stepping toward the projected image. His fingers trace the outline of the bound figure, almost reverently. Each incision was carefully placed, removing flesh in a way that prolonged consciousness. The victim didn't just die. They were reshaped, piece by piece. His voice is smooth, almost hypnotic. I glance at Harper, who shifts uncomfortably beside me. He feels it too. Something about this man is wrong. Langston finally turns his attention back to me. "Detectives," he says, smiling as if we're old friends. "What can I do for you?" The students murmur, looking at us with curiosity. I step forward, keeping my voice calm. "A man was murdered last night," I say. "A surgeon. His body was posed, covered in thousands of precise cuts. A page was left at the scene." I pull the brittle scrap of paper from my pocket. "This page." Langston doesn't react with shock. He doesn't even look surprised. Instead, he exhales softly, studying the paper like it's an old friend. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Harper stiffens beside me. "You think that is beautiful?" Langston lifts his eyes to us, unbothered. "History is beautiful, detective. And history repeats itself." The words settle like a weight in my chest. "You checked this book out a few weeks ago." "I did." He nods. "My field of study is surgical history. That particular text is one of the most comprehensive records of pre-modern techniques." His gaze darkens with something I can't quite name. "But I didn't kill Alan Price." "How did you know his name?" I ask. His smile doesn't falter. "You wouldn't be here if it wasn't someone important." He folds his arms, tilting his head slightly. "Besides, you think I'm the only one interested in this subject?" He says it so casually, like this is just a theory to him. I take a step closer, lowering my voice. "Where were you 2 nights ago?" Langston doesn't blink. "At home." "Alone?" A slow nod. "Alone." A weak alibi. Convenient. But something about him, his calm, his confidence, tells me he knows we have nothing. Not yet. I reach into my coat pocket and pull out a photograph. The crime scene, The body of Alan Price strung up like an exhibit. For the first time, Langston hesitates. It's small, just a flicker in his eyes, but I catch it. That, he murmurs, almost to himself, is remarkable. Harper swears under his breath. I clench my jaw. Langston looks back at me, his expression unreadable. You'll find another one soon, he says, and then, as if it's already decided, the artist isn't done. Langston's words stick with me. The artist isn't done. It's the kind of thing killers say, the kind of thing people like me hear right before another body drops. I tell myself he's playing a game, toying with us, but in the pit of my stomach I already know he's right. And 2 nights later the call comes in. The crime scene is in the lower Garden District, yet inside a high-end apartment complex. A security guard meets us at the elevator, his face pale, eyes darting everywhere but at us. I don't blame him. When the doors slide open on the 16th floor, the stench rushes out like something alive, coppery, sickly sweet. Too much blood. The apartment is expensive. Modern furniture, minimalist decor, floor-to-ceiling windows that should be letting in the city lights. But the crime scene sucks all the life out of it. In the center of the room, suspended from the ceiling by metal hooks, is a man's body, just like before. His arms are outstretched, posed like a grotesque sculpture. His skin is a latticework of thousands of tiny incisions, methodical, almost clinical in their placement. Not a single one is deep enough to kill instantly. They were meant to prolong the pain. Pinned to his chest with a surgical needle is another page, torn from the same medical book as the first. A new method of dissection. I glance at Harper, who's already pulling up his phone. Tell me it's not another doctor, I say. His expression tightens. Doctor. Samuel Ingram. Neurologist, 52. Another surgeon. Another body carved open like a goddamn art project. I rub my temples, trying to push down the headache forming behind my eyes. And let me guess. No forced entry? Harper nods grimly. Building security says there were no alarms triggered. No signs of a struggle either. That means one of 2 things. The killer was let in willingly, or the victim never saw them coming. Neither is good. Forensics starts their sweep. We move through the apartment, looking for anything, any clue, any mistake. But everything about this scene is just as controlled as the last one. Then one of the techs calls out, "Got something." We turn back to the body. The tech is standing near the victim's left hand, holding up a small card with tweezers. A dusting of blood coats the edges, but the fingerprint is clear. My heart pounds. Whose print is it? I ask. The tech scans the card. His eyes widen. He looks up at me. Dr. Alan Price. I freeze. Alan Price, the first victim. The guy who was already dead? Harper mutters. I step back, trying to make sense of it. It doesn't add up. Dr. Price's body has been in the morgue for days. So how the hell are his fingerprints at a fresh crime scene? The room feels smaller, the walls pressing in, the smell of blood thicker now that I know what we're dealing with. Or rather, what we don't understand yet. The fingerprint, Alan Price. A dead man leaving his mark at a fresh crime scene. It shouldn't be possible. But here it is, sitting right in front of me like a challenge. Harper lets out a slow breath beside me, rubbing the back of his neck. Tell me there's a logical explanation for this. I don't answer, because there isn't one. Not yet. I step closer to the body, focusing on the victim's hands. His fingers are clean, no signs of a struggle. The killer was careful, surgical, just like before. The pattern of incisions follows the same method, the same precision. But something about this one feels different. The first kill was meant to send a message. This this feels like an escalation. The forensics team is still working, dusting for prints, taking photos, but I already know they won't find anything else. The killer doesn't make mistakes, which means the fingerprint. It wasn't left accidentally, it was placed. A deliberate taunt, a way to shake us, throw us off. But why Price's fingerprint? Why a man who was already dead? Harper swipes through his phone, checking the coroner's report on Price's body. Says here there was nothing unusual in the autopsy. No drugs, no toxins, no weird post-mortem activity. He stops, frowns. Wait. Except... I turn to him. Except what? He squints at the screen. The coroner noted something strange about the body's condition, said there was minimal decomposition for the time frame. He pauses. Almost like he hadn't been dead as long as we thought. My stomach tightens. Price was murdered days ago. There should have been rigor mortis, skin slippage, decay, the usual roadmap of death. If that wasn't happening, it meant something had been done to him. I make a call to the morgue. It rings twice before the coroner picks up, her voice tired. Dr. Valdez speaking. It's Carter. I need you to recheck Alan Price's body. Tell me if anything looks off. A pause. Then, I already released the body. The words take a second to register. What? His family claimed it this morning, she says. Wife signed off. Funeral's scheduled for tomorrow. Harper hears the conversation and swears under his breath. I press the phone tighter to my ear. He didn't have a wife. He was divorced. Silence. Then a slow, uncertain, then, who the hell did I give the body to? A sick feeling spreads through me. Alan Price is gone. And somewhere out there, someone is still using his hands. The city moves around us like it always does. Cars honking, people laughing on sidewalks, the humid air thick with the smell of rain and gasoline. But all I can hear is the coroner's voice echoing in my head. Then, who the hell did I give the body to? We're already in the car, tearing through traffic toward the morgue. Harper grips the dashboard as I take a turn too fast, but he doesn't complain. He feels it too. This shift, this wrongness creeping into the case like a slow poison. We should be looking at surveillance, he says, phone in hand, already dialing. Someone walked into that morgue and walked out with a corpse. And I want to know who. I don't respond, jaw clenched, eyes locked on the road. I've seen stolen bodies before. Black market organ trade, revenge cases, sick rituals. But this isn't about the body itself. This is about the hands. The fingerprints. Whoever took Alan Price knew exactly what they were doing, and they knew we'd find it. By the time we reach the morgue, Dr. Valdez is waiting for us outside, arms crossed, face pale. She's been doing this job for 20 years, but right now she looks rattled. I checked the paperwork twice, she says as soon as I step out of the car. Everything looked normal. The ID, the signatures. It wasn't some fake in a hoodie, Carter. It was a woman, well-dressed, professional. She had his death certificate, his marriage certificate. Her voice drops. She knew everything about him. I stare at her. Surveillance? She nods quickly. I pulled the footage. She doesn't wait for us to follow, just turns and marches inside. The security office is a cramped space filled with flickering monitors, the air stale with old coffee and disinfectant. Valdez clicks through the footage until she stops on a grainy, time-stamped video from this morning. A woman stands at the counter. Late 40s, dark hair in a neat bun, expensive blazer. Calm, unhurried. She hands over paperwork, waits for the attendant to process it. A few minutes later, an orderly wheels out a body bag. She signs something, thanks them, and walks out the door. Like she was supposed to be there. Valdez leans in. She said her name was Elizabeth Price. Harper and I exchange a look. Alan Price's ex-wife was named Julia. Run her face, I say. It takes less than 5 minutes. The name Elizabeth Price doesn't exist, but the face? The face belongs to asterisk Dr. Victoria Langston. Harper exhales, shaking his head. Tell me that's not a coincidence. My pulse pounds. Victoria Langston. Victor Langston's twin sister. We've been watching the wrong Langston this whole time, and somewhere out there she's building another body. The city blurs past as we speed toward Langston's last known address, the sirens wailing, cutting through the humid night air. Harper grips the door handle, his jaw tight, his knee bouncing, a tell he always gets when we're about to walk into something bad. She's a surgeon, he mutters, more to himself than to me. Not some low-level killer. If she stole Price's body, it wasn't to dump it in a river. She needed it. She needed it for something else. I press harder on the gas. We've spent too much time looking at Victor Langston, analyzing every word, every movement, believing he was at the center of this. And the whole time, his sister was in the shadows, cutting pieces from corpses, leaving their fingerprints behind, like signatures. Langston's house is a sleek modern structure, glass and steel standing cold against the dark. The kind of place a man with a detached fascination for human anatomy would live. We pull up hard, tires screeching. The front door is unlocked, wide open. Harper draws his gun. I do the same. The house is silent, too still, the kind of silence that waits. Inside, the walls are lined with bookshelves, medical journals, old anatomy texts. Surgical tools sit in pristine cases, gleaming under the soft track lighting. The air smells sterile. Too clean. But on the floor, a trail of bloody footprints, barefoot, leading down the hall. Harper's breathing is tight. Carter. We follow the prints, stepping carefully, weapons raised. They lead to a door slightly ajar. Inside, the glow of a single lamp spills onto white tile. A basement operating room. And in the center, Victor Langston sits in a chair, his arms limp, his head tilted forward. His skin is slick with sweat, his hands shaking. His pupils are too wide. He's alive, but barely. He looks up, blinks like he's trying to focus, then he mumbles something. I step closer. What? His fingers twitch against the armrest. His breath shudders. I see it. I see the knife. In my dreams. His voice is a whisper, hoarse, not fully his. Something is wrong. Deeply wrong. Then I see the marks on his arms in very small, deliberate incisions running up his veins. Not meant to kill him. Meant for something else. Something crawls through my gut, cold and slow. Harper, look at this. Harper steps closer, his gun still raised. Then he freezes. Jesus Christ. Because there, stitched underneath Victor Langston's skin, are someone else's fingerprints. They weren't just moving bodies. They were transferring identities. I hear movement behind us, a soft step, a presence, and then a woman's voice, smooth, clinical. You're finally catching up. We turn. Dr. Victoria Langston stands in the doorway, scalpel gleaming under the light, and she's smiling. Victoria Langston doesn't run. She doesn't even flinch. She just stands there in the dim glow of the basement lamp, the scalpel poised delicately in her gloved hand, like this is nothing more than another procedure. Harper aims his gun at her. Don't move. She exhales softly, tilting her head, studying us the way a surgeon studies a body before making the first incision. You're both so tense, she murmurs. You don't understand yet, do you? Victor lets out a weak, shuddering breath from the chair. His fingers twitch again. His eyes, wide and unfocused, dart to his sister. He tries to speak, but nothing comes out except a dry croak. I take a slow step forward, my own gun steady. You took Alan Price's body, I say. You cut him open, took pieces of him, his hands, his prints. Her lips press together, almost like she's disappointed. Not just his hands, she says. His nerves, his tissue, the parts that matter. The realization sinks in like ice. This isn't just about taking fingerprints, it's about transplanting them. You think identity is just a face, detective? She continues. Number identity is deeper than that. It's in the way we move, the way we touch, the way a hand leaves a mark on the world. Harper grits his teeth. You're insane. Victoria's expression doesn't change. She takes a step closer, slow, deliberate. The scalpel glints in her hand. Victor was the first, she says. Victor Langston lets out a strangled noise. His body shudders violently in the chair, his hands clenching into tight fists. His new hands. They dream, Victoria continues, almost wistfully. The new nerves remember the old owner. The muscle memory lingers. Do you understand what that means? Victor is sweating. His breath comes faster, his entire body trembling now. He's fighting something. They think they're still cutting, she whispers. I hear Harper shift beside me, gripping his gun tighter. That's why he's been having those dreams, he mutters. The knife, the murders. They weren't his memories. They belonged to Alan Price. I finish. Victoria smiles. Victor lets out a guttural noise, his eyes rolling back, his body spasming. His fingers twitch like they're trying to hold something, like they're closing around a scalpel that isn't there. His breathing stutters. His jaw clenches. Then, so softly it's almost nothing, he mutters, I see the knife. And then, he lunges. Harper reacts first, shoving me back as Victor rips free from the chair, moving with unnatural speed, his new hands reaching for us. Victoria doesn't move, doesn't even blink, just watches, her lips curling at the edges, because she knew this would happen. Because this isn't just her experiment. There are others. Victor slams into me before I can react, his weight driving me back against the cold tile floor. His fingers, Alan Price's fingers, claw at my throat, pressing down, strong and practiced, like they've done this before. Because they have. Somewhere, deep inside his body, his new hands still remember. Harper shouts, the room tilting as I hear the crack of his gun. The bullet slams into Victor's shoulder, throwing him back, his grip loosening just enough for me to break free. I roll to the side, gasping for air, my vision spotting at the edges. Victoria still hasn't moved. She watches, fascinated, like this is all just another part of her study. Victor stumbles, his breath coming in ragged, wet gasps. But he doesn't stop. He doesn't even seem to feel the gunshot. Harper raises his weapon again. Stay the hell down. Victor smiles. A horrible, bloody smile. And then, with a jerking, unnatural movement, he bolts. Not toward us, but toward the basement stairs. Victoria exhales, almost disappointed. He's going home. And I know instantly what she means. The slaughterhouse. The place where it started. Harper and I are already moving before she finishes speaking. We don't have time to arrest her, don't have time for anything except stopping this before it gets worse. Before another body hangs from those hooks. The drive is a blur, the city's lights streaking past in smears of yellow and red. The slaughterhouse is still abandoned, still standing like a forgotten monument to something rotten. Only this time, the lights are on. A single, flickering glow from deep inside. Harper unclicks the safety on his gun as we push through the rusted entrance. Carter, you sure about this? No, I say, but we keep moving anyway. Inside, the air is thick with the scent of old blood and something new, something sharp. And then I see him. Victor stands in the center of the room, his hands trembling, his eyes wild. But he's not alone. A man is strung up on the hooks. Still alive, still struggling. His face is pale, eyes wide with terror, mouth gagged with a strip of cloth. Dr. Robert Kessler. The last name on the Cutters Club list. Victor breathes heavily, staring at his own hands like he's at war with himself, like he doesn't understand why he's here, why he did this. But his hands know. They move toward Kessler's chest, the fingers twitching, a scalpel clutched in his grip. Alan Price's grip. He looks up at me, and for a moment, just a brief, horrible moment, I see two people staring back. Victor Langston and Alan Price's hands. I can't stop, he whispers. And then, in the trembling glow of the flickering light, he raises the scalpel. Victor's breathing is ragged, his grip tightening around the scalpel, his hands trembling but not with hesitation, with asterisk need, with something buried so deep inside him that even he doesn't understand it. His body may be his, but his hands aren't. They still belong to someone else. And they remember. Kessler writhes against the hooks, his muffled screams barely audible through the thick, humid air. His chest rises and falls in sharp, panicked bursts, his eyes locking onto mine, silently begging for help. Victor. My voice is steady, but my pulse is a hammer in my skull. You don't have to do this. He laughs, a broken wheezing sound. Don't I? His head tilts, his face drenched in sweat. I see it every time I close my eyes, Carter. The blade, the skin splitting. It's like a memory that won't fade, except it's not mine. His fingers flex around the scalpel. It's his. It's his. Harper moves first. His gunshot cracks through the slaughterhouse, the sound bouncing off the rusted walls. The bullet rips through Victor's shoulder, but he doesn't go down. He stumbles, gasping, his free hand clutching the wound, but his right hand, the hand that still belongs to Alan Price, refuses to let go of the scalpel. It drives forward, straight toward Kessler's throat. I lunge. My body collides with Victor's, both of us slamming to the ground. The scalpel clatters onto the concrete, spinning away into the dark. He thrashes beneath me, his strength unnatural, his limbs moving in sharp, jerking motions like they're fighting each other. His hands try to cut. His mind tries to stop them. I grab his wrists, pinning them down. You're not him, Victor. I growl through gritted teeth. You're not Price. He lets out a choked sob, his head slamming back against the floor, his entire body seizing, convulsing like something inside him is breaking apart. Then, suddenly, he stops moving. His chest rises and falls. His fingers twitch once, then curl into loose fists. His eyes flutter open, and for the first time, I see Victor Langston. Not Price, not a killer, just a man drowning inside himself. His lips part. A whisper. Help me. I pull back, nodding at Harper, who already has his radio out, calling it in. Kessler is still shaking, still staring in horror, but he's alive. And Victor is barely conscious, his body wrecked, his hands finally still. It's over. But as we drag him outside, as I hear the sirens cutting through the thick New Orleans night, something Victoria Langston said keeps clawing at the back of my mind. They think they're still cutting. Victor will be locked away. His hands will never touch a scalpel again. But how many more did she experiment on? How many other surgeons woke up one day with hands that didn't belong to them? How many more will dream of the knife? I don't sleep that night, and when I finally do, I feel the cold handle of a scalpel in my grip.